Oh, hi everybody. Welcome back to Cucina Divino. You got me started here on my recipe for tonight. We're going to be making a pasta dish called pasta Norma. Now, this is a dish that, it's a Sicilian pasta dish, originated in Catania in Sicily in about 1831 or so. And it was named after Vincenzo Bellini, who was a composer, and he composed operas at that time. And he had an opera called Norma, which debuted in La Scala in Milan in 1831, but it was a flop. So his best friend in Catania in Sicily decided to make him a pasta dish that he would, when he came back, would make him feel good. And it was called pasta Norma. So that's what we're doing here. I'm in the middle of cutting my eggplant. Let me show you the rest of the ingredients over here. We're using some SanMarzano plum tomatoes tonight. We're going to use a pound of Penne pasta. This is another eggplant, but let's go into that a little bit. You know the story, there are male and female eggplants. And they say that the male eggplant, which is the one I'm using here tonight, is less bitter and has less seeds, of course, than the female eggplant. And how do you tell male and female eggplant? Well, if you can get a close-up of this, I cut the tip off already. This one has like a little round belly button on the bottom. That's the male. The female has more like a rectangle or a dash-shaped depression on the end, and that's the female eggplant. You can use either one. I'm going to put this one aside. We'll save that for another time. But they say that the male is less bitter. Now, I'm going to be cutting these. I'm going to cut some slices, as you see I did here. The rest, I'm going to cut into chunks. And the reason I'm doing that is so that we have two different textures in the pasta. These rounds should crisp up a little bit more so than these chunks. So we're just going to cut these into chunks. I'm going to make these a little bit smaller. So we're going to go this way and that way. Try to get them pretty much the same thickness so that they'll cook evenly. Now this looks like a lot of eggplant, but believe it or not, this is going to really shrink down once we get it cooking, so there won't be much left. Eggplant goes back to about 300 years BC, believe it or not, and that's when the first eggplants were domesticated for food. And one thing I guess you've all heard of is salting your eggplant to remove the bitterness. Well, that used to be the case way back, but since the eggplant has been bred and GMO'd and whatever else, cloned, whatever word you want to use, they've been able to take most of the bitterness out of the eggplant. So salting really is not necessary. You can skip this step if you like, but I can't do that because my grandmother told me that I had to salt the eggplant, so we're going to have to salt the eggplant. And we're going to put some kosher salt on here and mix this all up, and we're going to do that for about 15 minutes or so. And what that does, that takes out supposedly the bitterness and also the moisture. Now when you cook food and you heat food up, the reason for heating it up is to remove the moisture so that the food is more concentrated in flavor and tastes better. So that's mainly the reason for the salt, is to remove this moisture. And after 15 minutes or so, this bottom dish here is going to be full of water. And let me just rinse off and we'll get back. Okay, so the other thing, we're going to be using olive oil, about a medium onion. I have some fresh basil here, thanks to my friend Cheryl Turner from her garden. Some salt and pepper. We won't be needing the kosher salt till later for the pasta. So here's the onion. We're going to cut this into even pieces. And I like to cut it this way. Less tiers. The fewer slices and cuts you make, the less tears you're gonna get. Well, this is maybe a little bit more than a medium onion, but never too much onion. Okay, I'm gonna take this and put this in this bowl. Naturally, some of these I'm trying to get away, but we'll get them all. Okay, so that's that. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to let the eggplant soak for about, salt for about 15 minutes or so. I'm going to get my onions started in the pan and some nice extra virgin olive oil. And we'll come back when we're getting this all together. So see you in about 10 minutes or so. Hi everybody, we're back. So let's see where we are here. Well, first of all, okay, I started sauteing my onion and got that going. I took the eggplant out of the salt, we rinsed it off, patted it dry so we got all that moisture out of there. I added the eggplant to the onions that were already sauteing. Now, the onions took about 5 minutes. I added the eggplant. This has been going about 15 minutes now. So I would say 15 minutes. It looks like it's nice and tender. And it's going to cook more in the sauce. So the next step, we're going to add our crushed SanMarzano tomatoes. And we're going to put that right in there. And we're going to lower the heat a little bit. And we're going to simmer this, I would say probably 30, 35, 40 minutes at the most. Probably maybe 30 minutes, 35 minutes. So mix this all up. Now this looks delicious already. We're going to get that eggplant's going to cook additionally in there. And I'm going to add some salt and pepper. I guess for you out there that like a little bit spicy or hot, you could add some crushed red pepper flakes to this instead of the black pepper, but we're going to keep it a little bit on the milder side. All right, so this is going to simmer, as I say, on a low medium. We don't want it to bubble over. So that'll keep going, and I would say, as I said, 35 minutes. So we'll see you in about 35 minutes and finish this dish off. Everybody, we're back. So our sauce with our eggplant is pretty much done. It was 35 minutes. I have my pasta boiling. I'm going to drain my pasta. And first, before I do that though, I'm going to add some fresh basil. And the best way to do this is just rip it up. Because if you cut it with a knife, you're not getting all the aromatic oils. So the best way is just to rip it up and spread it around in there. I can smell that. Okay, so we can shut this off. I'm going to take my pasta and drain it. It's al dente, we shut that off too. Joanne, get a close-up of that sauce. Alrighty, so we're back. I'm going to take my sauce now with the eggplant and we're going to put it in our pasta pot. I'll get the rest of that with my bread later. Trying to give this a stir. I did add a little extra salt to the sauce when it was cooking. I just taste it as you go along, whatever your preference might be. Salt, pepper. I just added a little bit more. Okay, just gonna give that a stir, let it heat up a little bit. Okay, that looks, you ready to get a close-up of that? That looks really good. Okay, let me give a little bit of plate of this. I have to say, this looks fabulous. So, okay, so I'm going to take this to our table. I'm going to take some fresh Parmigiano Reggiano. Always like to grate it fresh. And a little more pepper for me. And we're all set. So there you have it. Pasta alla Norma. Eggplant, pasta, onions. Let's get a taste of this and see what we do. I hope it's going to be hot, I'm sure. There we go. Okay. Eggplant is cooked just fine. Enough salt, enough pepper for me. And there you have it. So not too difficult a dish to make. So I hope you enjoy it. Hope you try it. Let me know how it turns out. If you have any questions, you can always give me a call or text me. So until next time, from Cucina Divina, salute, buon appetito, tutti a mangiare. Ciao.